to prevent an economic boom from getting too big and reduce the time that an economy spends in a recession. Monetary policy, Friedman insisted, cannot help an economy raise its long-term growth prospects. And here was the kicker. If monetary policy is badly implemented, it can cause lasting damage, and can, hence, reduce long-term growth prospects. Like a monkey wrench thrown into a machine, ill-chosen and ill-timed monetary policy frustrates normal economic functioning. By going down the route of monetary union, European leaders were making it more likely that European monetary policy would throw monkey wrenches into their economies. European leaders may not have been aware of Friedman's near theorem on the proper role and limits of monetary policy. They should have been aware that a single currency could not deliver economic prosperity, and they were surely aware that Italy and Greece had always bucked economic directives from European authorities, and thus these countries were unlikely to meet the standards of economic management needed to accompany a single currency, a single monetary policy. European leaders also knew that the promised political gains were illusory. Although they often repeated the mantra of political union, they knew they would not give up their own tax revenues to provide meaningful help to other nations in distress. They knew that the risk of economic conflicts of interest was real, and economic conflicts would create political conflicts. From the moment the single currency was proposed in 1969 to its introduction in 1999, validations of these forewarnings recurred, again and again. But the risks were downplayed, and alternative viewpoints were deflected. The essential flaw of the single currency was elementary. In giving up their national currencies, Eurozone members lost important policy levers. If a member country went into recession, it would not have a currency it could devalue, so that its businesses could sell abroad at lower US dollar prices in order to boost exports and employment. The member country would also not have a central bank that could reduce its interest rates to encourage domestic spending and stimulate growth. This basic flaw creates acute difficulties as soon as the economies of countries that share the currency diverge from one another. If the Italian economy is in trouble, and the German economy is humming along, the common interest rate set by the European Central Bank, ECB, will be too high for Italy and too low for Germany. Thus, Italy's economic troubles will persist, and the German economy will get even more of a boost. It is in the nature of the single currency that once member economies begin to diverge from one another, the common interest rate will cause the divergence to increase. These elementary problems considered, economists concluded by the late 1960s that if the single currency were to have a chance, any chance at all, there would need to be significant fiscal transfers from the humming countries to those that were in the dumps. In a single country, single currency customs union such as the United States, states receive more funding from the federal budget. Also, residents of states hit hard by recession pay reduced federal taxes relative to the residents of states that are less seriously affected. When such benefits are provided, no one fusses about them, because under the current political arrangement, the United States, they are legitimate. Indeed, some US states, such as Connecticut and Delaware, make large, permanent transfers to states such as Mississippi and West Virginia. Economists thus concluded that, for the euro leap into the dark, a common budget under a single fiscal authority would be needed. If Europe wanted to go down this route, national parliaments would need to take back seats. They would mainly transfer resources to a common budget. A European finance minister reporting to a European parliament would use funds from a common European budget to stimulate the economy of the troubled country, and thus shorten its recession. Fiscal transfers would not guarantee success, but without them, this was a dangerous venture. From day one, however, it was clear that the Europeans would never be willing to agree on a common budget. The Germans were understandably worried that if they agreed to share their tax revenues, they would become the financier of all manner of problems in the rest of Europe. Thus, a common budget, to smooth the path to the United States of Europe with the euro as its common currency, was political.